A single tear rolls down Prince William's cheek, the future King of England, as King Charles finally bestowed upon him the royal title he had long yearned for. This wasn't just a title, it was a symbol of validation, trust, and a father-son bond tested by years of silence and tension. That seemingly simple moment left the entire royal family breathless with emotion. But what lay behind those tears? Was it relief at last, having inherited a prestigious legacy? Or was it the bitter release of years spent living under the immense shadow of a father, one whose reign and past have always been steeped in controversy? This historic moment did not come easily. It is the result of decades of quiet struggle, unspoken rivalries, and cold calculations within the walls of the monarchy. Why was this title so deeply important to William, and what finally made King Charles change his mind, especially at such a politically charged and emotionally delicate time? Join us as we dive deep into the emotional and dramatic evolution of this royal relationship, unraveling the power plays, buried resentments, and the poignant truth behind a moment that may well reshape the future of the British throne. The silent strength of Prince William. The cameras never miss a moment, but they rarely tell the whole story. When Prince William smiles for the crowd, the world sees grace, composure, and the regal charm of a future king. But look a little closer, and you might catch the quiet sorrow buried deep in his eyes, the flicker of fatigue that no amount of royal polish can conceal. Because behind the perfectly tailored suits and practiced diplomacy lies a man who has endured more pain, pressure, and internal battles than the crown will ever reveal. To the public, William is the golden heir, calm in chaos, steady under scrutiny, and always a step ahead. He is the royal family's safest bet, their unshakable pillar in a house built on centuries of scandal and whispers. But the truth is far more haunting. Since boyhood, William has been thrust under the harsh glare of global fascination. He didn't choose the spotlight, it was inherited like a curse. He was just a child when he walked behind his mother's coffin, the world watching every tear, every step. And from that moment on, his life became a performance, a balancing act between duty and identity, grief and responsibility. Each year added new expectations, new headlines, new comparisons to his father, his mother, even his younger brother. And through it all, he stood tall, or at least he tried to, but silence has a cost. Behind palace walls, William has waged battles invisible to the public eye. Battles against a system that demands perfection but gives no space for healing. Battles against media narratives that twist his words, question his motives, and dissect every flicker of emotion. For every handshake and photo op, there's a sacrifice no one sees: a missed birthday, a lost connection, a piece of himself slowly slipping away. His strength lies not in thunderous speeches or grand gestures, but in endurance, the kind of endurance that keeps a fractured family from falling apart, the kind that smiles for the cameras while silently carrying the weight of an entire monarchy's future. And yet, through all of it, the pain persists, pain of unspoken truths, of strained relationships, of knowing that even within his own family, trust can be a fragile, fleeting thing. While tabloids paint him as the picture of royal perfection, the reality is far more complex. William is not just the heir, he is the bridge between old and new, tradition and change. He must honor a past that broke his heart, while shaping a future that may one day judge him just as harshly. So the next time you see him wave from the palace balcony or shake hands with dignitaries, remember you're not just looking at a prince. You're looking at a survivor of trauma, of pressure, of a life that was never truly his to choose. And that, more than any crown, is the true weight he carries. William grew up in a society that discouraged showing emotions. He was taught to prioritize his responsibilities over his emotions from a young age. He learned to hide his feelings and put on a brave face when necessary, despite his efforts to conceal his true emotions. Keeping everything bottled up can have negative consequences, especially when the pain comes from someone he trusted. William and his brother Harry drifted apart, leaving behind a lasting emotional wound. There has been a lot of pain between the two of us, especially in recent years. Their separation was not just sad, but also very personal. Their close bond, once filled with laughter and loyalty, turned cold and quiet over time. While the public saw interviews and headlines about their rift, William felt the loss of a deep brotherly connection that had seemed unbreakable, but was now shattered. He didn't show his pain to everyone. He didn't write a book or go on a talk show. Instead, he kept going, looking strong on the outside but still feeling the absence of his brother. His silence wasn't a sign of weakness, but a way of honoring his responsibilities and mourning quietly. Despite it all, he had to keep moving forward, showing strength even as he grieved the loss of their bond. William has found happiness and peace within his little family, which is something he never found in public life. Catherine supports him through all challenges, and his children give him a deeper sense of purpose. They are not just his joy, but also his anchor in a world that can often feel like a constant show. Although the public sees William's family looking happy and smiling in public, they are not aware of the nights filled with worry and serious discussions that happen behind closed doors. William thinks about how to raise his children in a royal household that has a history of sadness and wants things to be better for them. He hopes to ensure that his children grow up with love, freedom, and without the burden of heavy shadows that he has had to deal with. He is not just creating a family, he is also creating a better future. He envisions a future where his children are not held back by the past, but instead encouraged by optimism. He hopes to raise them to be resilient, compassionate, and ready to take on challenges, not just as figures, but as individuals. The choices he makes now are not only for the present, but will also impact the future. Even though he is a father and husband, William has not remained stagnant. While staying within the palace walls, he has been gaining knowledge, observing, and getting ready for the future. He is not merely interested in imitating his father's actions, but desires to establish his own way. William acknowledges the need for the monarchy to evolve in order to persist. Relying solely on customs and rituals is no longer sustainable. True transformation must start from within, and William is aware of this. He embraces the challenge ahead and is not fearful of it. As the world pays attention to royal scandals and arguments about words spoken, William remains concentrated. He is strategizing a reign that will be unlike past ones, centered on truthfulness and inner fortitude, rather than drama and showmanship. With a new title, he is not just the next in line, but starting to take on a leadership role with confidence, without making a big fuss. When he agreed to take on his new job, something different happened. At Westminster Abbey, in the peaceful, impressive halls, a change occurred. It wasn't dramatic or showy. It was gentle, yet strong. William was no longer merely waiting. He was starting to transform. Some may have seen it as just another royal event, but to those familiar with how the monarchy operates, it signified more. It marked the beginning of a new era, not just a new title, but the start of a future unfolding. King Charles still wears the crown, but on that day, people saw something new. They saw William not just as a prince waiting to become king, but as someone showing leadership qualities. His demeanor, his relaxed manner, and the way he presented himself spoke volumes. He wasn't just getting ready anymore. He was starting his journey as a leader. This was a rare moment of peace and unity for a royal family that has experienced a lot of pain, sorrow, and division. By standing together, William and his father demonstrated the strength of the monarchy despite past challenges. Although there may still be problems and rumors swirling, in that moment there was resilience and a clear indication that the future was already in motion. Things are progressing smoothly inside the palace as they discuss modernizing the monarchy. William is not seeking fame or attention, but rather wants to create something genuine and long-lasting. His priority is not wealth or following tradition, but rather the well-being of the people who rely on the monarchy for hope and stability in an ever-changing world. He understands that his position is not about seeking attention or control. His main priority is to uphold the honor of the monarchy, ensure the safety of his loved ones, and gain the confidence of the public. I take my responsibilities very seriously, but it's about finding your own way at the right time. And if you're not careful, duty can weigh you down an awful lot. Instead of making big speeches, he prefers to show his commitment through consistent actions. This is a period of change and evolution, not bound by outdated customs. William will not simply follow in his father's footsteps or mimic his grandmother's rule. His style of leadership will be unique and fresh. His approach is compassionate yet firm, contemporary yet traditional. By emphasizing his role as a spouse and parent, he brings emotional stability to a family that has experienced division. Supported by Catherine and increasingly seen as a leader, William's future is not solely determined by past events, but rather by the decisions he makes in his daily life. The choices made now will determine the future of the monarchy. People will remember more than just a prince getting a new title from this time period. They will recall a leader who valued grace, love, and patience over glory, pride, and power. The transfer of the crown will symbolize more than just a title being passed on, but also the passing on of a spirit of resilience. Prince William's journey is not about big wins or showy events. Instead, it is about a man who has mastered the art of leadership through listening, staying true to himself, and shaping the future with a calm and steady heart. Let's look into the strained relationship between Prince Harry and the royal family. The words that shook the royals. Just days before an important royal ceremony, Prince Harry stunned Buckingham Palace with a surprising move. During an emotional interview with the BBC, Harry spoke openly and honestly, breaking through the royal family's usual polished exterior. He didn't speak as a prince, but as a son who was hurting and a brother who was disappointed. While what he revealed was not necessarily new to everyone, it was the first time he had spoken these thoughts out loud. Behind the glamorous image of royalty, he talked about feeling pain, distance, and emotional isolation. His voice didn't convey anger, but a deep sense of truth, a truth that hit hard and carried significance. In a very personal interview, Harry talked openly about the pain he had been holding on to for years. He revealed feeling abandoned not just by the royal system, but also by his father and brother. Throughout this legal process, the interference that was created came from the royal household. These were serious accusations that carried a lot of emotion. The timing of his interview made the situation even more tense. Harry decided, or perhaps it just happened, to speak out right before his brother, Prince William, was going to have a significant moment in his royal role. As the nation and royal family geared up to celebrate William's new ceremonial position, Harry's interview became the center of attention. All of a sudden, the media and the public were no longer only interested in William's big moment. They were captivated by Harry's revelations of pain. The spotlight shifted from traditional celebrations to discussing family issues and expressing emotions openly. William, who had been preparing for this moment for years, now found his special day overshadowed by unexpected drama. Critics began to question whether Harry's revelations were planned to coincide with his brother's public appearance. Some thought it was a strategic move, while others saw it as bad timing. Regardless, the outcome was the same. The attention had moved away from William. The ceremony originally intended to celebrate William was now overshadowed by reports of family conflict and betrayal. It was no longer just about a future king taking on responsibilities. Now it was about two brothers who were once close but now felt emotionally far apart, their struggles being watched by the whole world. While William appeared dignified and regal inside Westminster Abbey, Harry's words outside painted a different, less perfect picture of the royal family. Despite the public's reaction to Harry's words, Buckingham Palace decided to stay quiet. They did not release any official statements, provide explanations, or respond to Harry's claims. However, inside the palace, emotions were running high as staff members worked to manage the fallout from the interview and protect William from the emotional impact. The upcoming ceremony, which William had been preparing for years, was at risk of being overshadowed. This interview had a deep impact on William. It brought up old struggles that had started to fade away. It wasn't just about public appearances. It touched on family, love, pain, and broken connections. Harry's words were sincere and emotional, stirring up unresolved feelings. William found himself in a tough spot where he couldn't respond or explain due to royal rules requiring silence. Despite the public speculation on him, he had to continue forward silently, carrying the weight of his emotions. Simultaneously, individuals worldwide started choosing sides. Some supported Harry for bravely expressing his truth and not conforming to outdated traditions. Others felt betrayed by his words, believing he damaged the royal family's reputation and singled out his brother at a crucial moment. This disagreement caused a split in opinions. Families debated the issue during meals, and social media was filled with varying viewpoints. However, Prince William remained silent, suppressing his emotions and trying to appear calm while being watched by the world. The strongest response didn't come from speaking, but from staying silent. Princess Catherine showed her support for William in a powerful yet quiet way. While William faced the crowd with grace, she stood by him with quiet strength. In the world of royalty, where every action and word is scrutinized, silence can be powerful. Princess Catherine's silence spoke volumes, showing her support without saying a word. Her poise, serenity, and steadfast presence conveyed a message that words couldn't convey. At Westminster Abbey, Catherine stayed calm and composed while traditions were followed and history was being made. She demonstrated that strength can be shown quietly. Her presence carried deep significance, appearing to be a message of support for William and the royal family that was facing scrutiny. Despite the chaos surrounding her, she remained unfazed and demonstrated how to be resilient without being loud. Harry's words have caused a lot of intense emotions that may linger for a while. Families, especially those in the public eye, face their challenges. Despite their position, they are still human beings with emotions and difficulties in their relationships. Harry's honesty revealed the pain that many had suspected, but it also uncovered wounds that were still in the process of healing. As time passes and things calm down, one thing is certain: this event will be remembered. It was more than just a ceremony. It was a representation of the deeper issues at play, one brother searching for answers, another brother following tradition, a wife demonstrating her resilience through composure, and a family torn between their obligations and their feelings. While the public observed and formed opinions, the individuals involved continued on, bearing their suffering silently, moving forward, even when the future seemed uncertain. In the end, the royal ceremony still happened. William did his part, and Catherine stood by him. Harry, on the other hand, spoke his truth from a distance. The impact of the interview will be remembered not only for its content, but also for the timing. When it comes to stories like this, timing is crucial. And in this case, it played a significant role. The strained bond between Prince William and Prince Harry. Once upon a time, Prince William and Prince Harry were very close brothers. They shared a strong bond from childhood, growing up together in the palace. Their connection was evident to those outside as they supported each other and shared laughs in public. However, over time, their once strong friendship began to feel distant and strained. When they were young boys, many people saw them walk behind their mother's coffin after her sad death. This made many people cry. William, the older brother, was 15 years old, and Harry was only 12. After that, they relied on each other to deal with a life full of pressure and responsibilities. They were not just brothers, but also best friends. However, being raised in the royal family has its challenges, and as they grew older, they started to become more different from each other. William was always expected to eventually become king. His position involved numerous duties, regulations, and a strong sense of obligation. He was aware of his future role from early on and approached it cautiously. On the other hand, Harry had more leeway in his choices. Being the spare, he didn't have the pressure of becoming king. However, this freedom also brought about uncertainties for him, as he frequently appeared unsettled about his place in the world. As time passed, William and Catherine started to go separate ways. William concentrated on his royal responsibilities, getting ready to become the Prince of Wales and later the King. He tied the knot with Catherine, or Bille, who was seen by many as the ideal partner for the future queen. They worked together to create a positive public image and a happy family. William appeared to have a clear and carefully thought-out path ahead of him. Harry began to feel excluded as he found it hard to cope with the expectations of being a member of the royal family. He desired a change, and this happened when he met Meghan Markle, an American actress. Their love story moved swiftly, and they soon got married. Meghan injected a new vitality into Harry's life that brought happiness for a while. However, despite the appearances of happiness, there was an increasing amount of stress. The bond between Harry and Meghan and the royal family started to deteriorate. The press was frequently critical, particularly towards Meghan. Harry felt like he wasn't being backed up. He thought that his family failed to defend Meghan properly. Gradually, he started feeling isolated, not just from his royal responsibilities, but also from his brother, William. A significant moment happened when Harry and Meghan chose to leave their royal duties. This surprising choice was a shock to many people worldwide. They relocated to North America, starting in Canada and then moving to California. Their goal was to have a more peaceful life without the pressures of royal responsibilities. Some saw this as a chance for independence, while others viewed it as turning their backs on their royal duties. The decision created more distance between the two brothers. William was upset and unsure why Harry decided to walk away from everything. Harry felt he had no other option and believed he was looking out for his family. However, without a mutual understanding, their relationship became less strong. Even though time continued to pass, the gap between them did not close. They started to make fewer public appearances together. When they did see each other, others could sense the tension between them. Their conversations seemed brief, and their facial expressions were strained. The affection that used to characterize their relationship was now missing. Harry and Meghan made things more serious when they talked publicly about their struggles. Even after their grandfather, Prince Philip, died, and then their grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, later on, their relationship did not seem to improve. They appeared together at royal events, but the strong connection they once had was no longer there. The special energy that used to brighten their faces when they were together was now gone. Family should be a source of solace. But for William and Harry, it became a source of suffering. The memories they once shared with their mother, the games they played as children, and their early years now felt distant. Time has the power to change things, including healing hearts. Even though they are now on separate paths, one heading towards royalty and the other on his journey, there is always optimism that the bond between these brothers, who were once very close, may be rekindled in the future with a simple, warm smile. Their current situation involves being far apart. It shows that even strong relationships can face challenges from life, decisions, and situations. However, the love and memories they share still exist deep within. It is uncertain if these roots will develop into something strong and beautiful in the future. Could this be what led to William being in the spotlight? A royal bond renewed. Prince William received a significant title that had a lot of meaning behind it. It wasn't just any fancy or routine royal event. It symbolized a change within the royal family. The announcement was made quietly but had a lot of significance. It came at a time when the royal family was once again making headlines, not for joyous occasions, but for turmoil. Just before this announcement, Prince Harry gave an emotional interview that shed light on the issues within the family. He openly discussed the distance between himself, his father, and his brother. His words exposed wounds that had not yet healed, revealing a family still grappling with pain and miscommunication. When the whole world was paying attention to what Harry was saying, Prince William decided to stay silent. He chose not to reply publicly or speak out against his brother. He appeared calm on the outside, but there were significant developments happening within the palace. King Charles made a significant and quiet decision by giving Prince William a role that he once held himself. William now assumes the Scottish titles which have meant so much to me. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall. William was appointed as the new Great Master of the Most Honorable Order of the Bath. This appointment was not just a symbolic title transfer within the royal family, but a decision with deep significance and meaning. People started to question the significance of the event. Some suspected it was a way to unite the family or to safeguard the reputation of the monarchy. Others believed it was a father acknowledging his son's abilities and potential future role. The timing of the decision was deliberate, coinciding with the 300th anniversary of the order. It also happened when the royal family was facing public scrutiny and internal conflict. This event was memorable not only for its beauty and traditional aspects, but also for the deep emotion it conveyed. William appeared composed, standing beside his father as Harry's words resounded globally. To those who observed closely, this was more than just a customary royal ritual. It symbolized a quiet but powerful statement of continuity for the monarchy, with William leading the way. The event was more than just a formal ceremony. It represented the culmination of years of family difficulties, public scrutiny, and personal obstacles. William, who was previously in the background, was now in the spotlight. This was not only because he was next in line for the position, but also because he had proven himself deserving through his dedication, resilience, and enduring patience. The significance of this moment went beyond symbols of power or wealth. It was about trust, the continuation of a family legacy, and a bond that had withstood numerous challenges. The atmosphere within Westminster Abbey was intense. The historic location had witnessed many important royal events. This particular occasion was unique. It was not a coronation or a funeral, but rather something personal and profound. A father and son were both present, adorned in the regalia of the order, traversing the same ground and bearing the same responsibilities. They did not enter together as royal protocol dictates, suggesting careful coordination. Their movement still showed an air of caution. However, a sense of freshness was apparent. King Charles and Prince William were both dressed in satin robes of the order, giving them a similar appearance as equal leaders united in a common goal. These robes symbolized shared beliefs, unspoken forgiveness, and maybe even affection. Upon meeting near the west door of the Abbey, their interaction was brief yet significant. King Charles tenderly placed his hand on his son's shoulder, a seemingly minor action, but one with great importance in the scrutinized and calculated world of royalty. They had a short conversation where they exchanged a few quiet words. Despite the tension that had been building up, particularly after Prince Harry's recent comments, this moment between the father and son said a lot. It wasn't a big speech or announcement, but there was a sense of comfort, understanding, and possibly even healing. The event moved to the Lady Chapel, which was steeped in tradition. The royal couple was followed by officers, nobles, and other members of the order. The walls of the chapel were adorned with banners and steeped in history, enhancing the emotion of the day. William stepped up to fulfill his role, taking his oath with seriousness and reverence. He wasn't just paying tribute to an ancient practice, he was committing to uphold the future of the royal family. When Prince William was assisting in the installation of 5 new knights, the cameras recorded all the actions. However, the cameras couldn't completely capture the significance of this moment. This wasn't just about receiving a title or fulfilling obligations. It demonstrated that Prince William was not just getting ready for the future, but experiencing it. In the historic location where past kings were crowned, William proved that he was prepared, confident, and deserving. It wasn't only because he was the king's son that he was in the spotlight. It was because of his growth and development. He didn't seek attention. He had been patient and worked hard. Now he was not just a prince, but a symbol of reliability. The chapel, with its rich history, now became a witness to a more intimate moment. It observed a father showing trust in his son. This trust was evident in every aspect of the ceremony. The way William behaved, the way he made a promise, the way he gazed at his father, everything revealed a story. It was a moment of respect as well as one of sentiment. It was a special connection between royalty that had experienced difficulties, but was gradually being fixed. Beneath the outward appearance of happiness, there were still problems. And despite the smiles for the cameras, the family was still dealing with old wounds, especially Harry's hurtful remarks. The royal family could no longer deny the tensions within. Although the ceremony was lovely, the public still had concerns. People still recalled the past stories of sadness, division, and conflicts. Nevertheless, this event inspired optimism. It demonstrated that within a family defined by responsibility, customs, and expectations, there was still room for transformation. This transformation occurred quietly and thoughtfully, not through grand declarations or emotional declarations, but through shared looks, tender actions, and small steps toward rebuilding trust. The celebration of the 300th anniversary of the Order of the Bath in itself was noteworthy. However, with Prince William playing a central role, it evolved into something more significant. It became a part of a larger narrative, a tale of a father and his son, of a family striving to mend bonds, and of a monarchy quietly getting ready for the future. As the event at Westminster Abbey ended and people started to leave Les Dabrènes, it was clear that Prince William had taken on more than just a title. He had entered a new phase in his life. With this change, he held the hope of the royal family, learned from the past, and looked towards the future. The monarchy isn't flawless, but that day it demonstrated its resilience, determination, and ability to progress. What detail did Catherine reveal about Meghan? How Catherine chose peace over pain at Kensington Palace. There is an unspoken rule that everyone who works there understands. Meghan Markle's name has become a sensitive topic that people carefully avoid discussing. It has become a boundary that is respected by all. It didn't happen suddenly. It began with tension, uncomfortable moments, and quiet glances during specific conversations. As time passed, the discomfort grew. It wasn't expressed through yelling or public drama, but through a noticeable silence. The employees at Kensington Palace didn't need a formal notice. They just understood that it was best to avoid bringing up Meghan when Catherine, the Duchess of Cambridge, was around for the sake of everyone's well-being. This silence is not because Catherine is angry. It's not due to bitterness or a desire for revenge. Instead, it stems from emotional exhaustion. Over time, there have been conflicts in public, controversial interviews, accusations, and family rifts. Catherine's decision to stay silent is not for seeking attention or sympathy, but for finding peace. She wants peace for her family, her children, and herself. Years ago, Catherine tried to keep everything under control. She wanted to be the peacemaker between her two brothers-in-law. She believed in the strength of the bond between herself, William, Harry, and Meghan. This group was seen as a new and modern representation of the royal family, bringing hope. At the start, there was happiness and a feeling of potential, and Catherine was completely invested in it. The dream started to fall apart slowly. Their public appearances became tense. The news headlines became even more intense. Their personal moments became public dramas. And then the final separation happened, causing more than just tension at family gatherings. When Harry and Meghan decided to step back, share their thoughts, and live a life outside of royal responsibilities, it wasn't just leaving behind fancy homes. They also lost trust and left behind emotional scars. The marks inside Kensington Palace are still there. For Catherine, they are more than just titles or media attention. They hold a deeper personal significance for her. She bore the burden of the breakdown and tried to hold everything together. But when her efforts failed, it left emotional wounds that have not fully healed yet. Catherine has decided to set a clear boundary. She avoids mentioning Meghan's name in her personal space, not to ignore the past, but to prevent reopening old, painful memories. This is a way for her to protect the peace she has established in her home, especially with her children in the public spotlight. She is not seeking revenge, but rather choosing to keep emotional turmoil out of the stable life she has worked hard to create. People close to William say he still feels the impact of the rift between him and his brother. He may secretly wish for a reconciliation with Harry in the future. Catherine, on the other hand, is more decisive and clear about moving forward. She doesn't have any space left for the way things used to be between them. Harry could potentially be forgiven eventually, but forgiveness for Meghan seems unlikely. The reason for this isn't jealousy or rivalry, but rather deep and enduring emotional hurt. This peaceful separation is not meant to be unfriendly. It's about setting limits. Catherine has made a decision that she will not let her emotional past disrupt her current or future life. She is safeguarding her inner peace by setting clear boundaries. These decisions are not only individual, but also impact something larger. As the royal family enters a new chapter, Catherine is not simply by the side of the future king. She is influencing the direction they are taking. Her quietness, determination, and composure say a lot. She has taken on a role that goes beyond just looking good for royalty. She is stable, considerate, and strongly defends the life she is creating. A family disagreement has now become a part of royal history, but there are clear lessons to be learned from it. Catherine is not trying to change the past. She just wants to prevent it from happening again. She no longer wants her home to be stressful. She wants happiness for her children, peace in her household, and trust in her relationships. This silent rule is important because it shows the progress that has been made and implies that there is no need to dwell on the past. Catherine is using this as a signal to signify that it is time to move on peacefully. During a recent ceremony, the royal family maintained their usual elegance in front of the world. However, for those familiar with the background, there was a noticeable shift. The occasion wasn't just about following tradition, it was a subtle way of asserting authority. Catherine exuded strength, composure, and certainty. She didn't have to voice her thoughts because her actions, boundaries, and silence spoke volumes. In the past, the royal family dealt with conflict using official statements and rules. However, Catherine is taking a different approach. Instead of making public announcements, she is making personal choices that have an impact on the institution over time. By carefully selecting what she includes in her personal space, discussions, and life, she is influencing the emotional atmosphere within the monarchy. The experience of pain has now become a source of wisdom. The close relationship between four young royals has taught them lessons in setting boundaries, showing respect, and progressing. Even though Catherine will always remember what was lost, she is deciding to concentrate on what can still be safeguarded. Inside Kensington Palace, where calmness holds a lot of importance, there is a quiet presence surrounding a particular name. This silence is not intended to cause pain, but to provide comfort. It serves as a reminder that sometimes the most impactful messages are those that are not verbalized. Will William be part of the chosen one and carry on the legacy, a crown of trust in the weight of legacy? The name Prince William has is not just for decoration. It has a significant meaning with a long history behind it. This title is not just for show or to be trendy, but is rooted in old customs and traditions. To fully grasp what occurred at Westminster Abbey, we need to reflect on the past. This event was not only about Prince William being given a new title, but about him entering a narrative that started centuries ago. It is a narrative of bravery, faithfulness, and duty. And now this narrative carries on with him. Long ago, in 725, King George I founded the Most Honorable Order of the Bath. This was not just a new idea from a king, but a prestigious honor reserved for the most devoted servants of the crown. It was given to those who had demonstrated their loyalty through actual deeds, not just empty promises. However, the establishment of the order in 1725 was not where it all began. The concept of the Order of the Bath dates back to a time when knighthood held significant importance. In the medieval era, becoming a knight was more than just learning how to fight. It involved spiritual preparation, including bathing to cleanse the body and soul. After the bath, soldiers would pray and spend quiet time. This process helped them let go of sin and get ready for a life of duty and sacrifice. The term Order of the Bath originated from this ancient ritual, which symbolized a profound inner transformation. When these men emerged from the water, they were not just soldiers anymore. They became protectors of honor, strength, and virtue. Over time, this honor remained highly exclusive. Only individuals who had made a significant impact, whether in military combat or government service, were selected. Those chosen for the Order of the Bath were influential figures whose actions helped shape the British Empire. Their names held weight, symbolizing qualities like bravery, allegiance, and dedication. Historically, only men were admitted into this prestigious group. However, that started to change gradually. A significant moment occurred in 1971 when Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, was appointed as a Dame Grand Cross. She became the first woman to receive this prestigious recognition, breaking a tradition that had been in place for almost 250 years. While this shift did not happen overnight, it demonstrated that even long-standing customs can evolve over time. Now, Prince William is becoming a part of a long and proud history by taking on the role of Great Master of the Order of the Bath. This means he will be responsible for leading ceremonies, selecting new members, and representing this important tradition. This is a significant responsibility, not just a superficial role. Prince William is now a member of a prestigious group that once distinguished kings from everyone else. He is now part of a world with deep significance where each action holds the weight of history. In his new position, Prince William is not only wearing luxurious clothing, but also representing the legacy of his predecessors. His decisions, actions, and style of leadership will become a part of history. This goes beyond just following tradition. It is a way to demonstrate to the world that Prince William is not passively waiting for his time to shine, but is already taking on a role of significant influence. This appointment was not made for show or to divert attention. It wasn't about covering up issues or improving his image. It was a thoughtful and significant choice made by someone who understands its importance. King Charles didn't just give William this title out of obligation, but because it meant much more to him. This was not just a public display, but also a personal commitment. To Charles, it wasn't just about being king, but about being a father. In royal families, emotions are not always openly expressed. Expressions of love and trust are often shown through actions rather than words. This gesture, seen by the world, was full of unspoken emotions. Years ago, Charles was in William's position, holding the same title. At that time, he was also Prince of Wales, looking towards an uncertain future. I'm proud to create him Prince of Wales. Taiwisog Simru, the country whose title I've been so greatly privileged to bear. The Queen was still the ruler, casting a large shadow. Now it is Charles's turn to pass on the responsibility. Naming William as the recipient of this title was more than just a traditional gesture. It held sentimental value and meaning. When Charles bestowed this honor upon his son, it wasn't merely a customary act. It symbolized trust and relinquishing control for the future. The exchange between father and son at that moment was genuine and significant. Their relationship had long been formal and distant, based on duty rather than emotional closeness. However, a shift began to occur. After Queen Elizabeth passed away, the royal family felt sad and faced changes. However, during that period of grief, something new started developing. Charles and William began to have more meaningful conversations, not just about their schedules or events, but about deeper topics like the responsibilities of being the future king. These conversations were more honest and open than before. Through these talks, Charles saw his son not just as his successor, but as the future leader of the nation. Charles conveyed his confidence in his son William by appointing him to a significant title. He was indicating that he trusted William to lead the monarchy into a new era characterized by compassion, resilience, and understated leadership. Though he didn't verbalize it, his actions made his beliefs evident. The prospect of the future is no longer a distant concept, it is now beginning to materialize. Charles is still the king, but this decision indicates that he is starting to take a step back. He's not giving up his position, but he's allowing William to have more responsibility. The change is happening gradually and with consideration. Charles is still in charge, but he's giving William the chance to develop independently. This process is not being rushed. It's moving at a steady pace and is being handled with care, built on trust and time. This moment meant a lot to Charles on a personal level. It was more than just a formal event. It was about his strong beliefs. Charles has struggled to show his emotions for a long time. However, this gesture conveyed everything that needed to be communicated. William, who used to be a quiet child, overshadowed by his mother's reputation, is now the man getting ready to take on the responsibilities of the monarchy. By assigning him this role, Charles was giving him something more significant than just a title. He was giving him his trust and belief. During the conversation, there was a silent understanding between the father and son. The years of not being close started to fade away. Although not completely gone, they now comprehend each other better. Their shared journey hasn't been simple, but this moment revealed a new strong connection between them. It's a bond beyond just being related or having responsibilities, but a bond of mutual understanding. This moment signifies both their past and future. Prince William is now moving forward with a sense of calm and assurance, wearing the symbolic attire of tradition. He no longer carries himself like a young boy, but as a mature man who is actively shaping the future. The road ahead will be tough, with obstacles to overcome and tough choices to make, all under the watchful eye of the public. However, he is not just carrying symbols, but also the weight of legacy, trust, and the future in his hands. Prince William may be the symbol of composure and nobility, but behind that royal glow is a flesh and blood man bearing wounds, sacrifices, and a silent battle few truly understand. His story is not just a chapter in royal history, but a powerful reminder of the true cost of duty and glory. If you want to keep uncovering the untold secrets of the British royal family, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss another shocking revelation.